think you're wrong. As you know, Paul was responsible for tracking down Soviet assassins we codenamed the Cassius 7.
And you caught them all but one. Missed Cassius himself.
He's dead. I shot him in the chest.
And survived.
This is not his work.
Oh, I think it is.
This is Agent Ben Gere. Probably knows more about your assassin than anyone we've got.
We'd like the two of you to work together. You never caught him.
Because he's dead.
Then prove it.
I've read that you worked with Cassius. Did he train you?
Trained us all.
He's used every single weapon you can think of. That red line right there indicates where his killing became erratic and inexplicable.
I want to know him. I want to understand him.
You need to drop this investigation. You got a wife, you have 2 kids. Cassius doesn't care who he has to eliminate.
Who are you?
Cassius.
Guy's nothing but a killing machine.
Your husband is messing with a creature he thinks he understands, but he doesn't. He's getting very close to a dangerous man. He will kill your husband, like snapping his fingers.
Where is he? Let me talk to her! Go back to the car and shut up!
Oh my God.
The entire time, he's been hunting himself.
You've been looking for Cassius a long time, haven't you?
And now I found him.
It would seem so.
Hey everybody, this is Cleve,
This is Michael.
and welcome to episode 17 of Podcasting Crime. Oh, this one.
It was so good. I don't know what you're talking about. It was so good.
You mean with Spider-Man 3's Topher Grace?
I mean, Spider-Man 3's Topher Grace and Pretty Woman's Richard Gere.
He's done other things, right?
Yeah, I think so.
How come I only can refer to him for Pretty Woman?
Because it's not things we would have watched.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, I know he's done stuff.
Today, guys, we're talking about the movie The Double, starring Topher Grace and Richard Gere. It's a thrilling, possibly buddy cop film about Russian spies and assassins and politicians dying and trying to get to the bottom of it.
Here's the thing. Is it a buddy cop movie? The answer is we get to decide that. So,
yeah.
Came out in 2011.
It did. It had 14 or 12 years to get better, and it still didn't. But it's not like wine. It's like milk. The longer you have it in the cellar, the grosser it gets.
You freeze it, it lasts longer.
That's fair.
Does that help you with this?
It doesn't. The tone is really set in the first 10 seconds of the first 30 seconds of the film.
Okay.
And that tone is, which kid is yours? Oh, the shortstop? Yeah, he's pretty good. Oh, which kid's yours? I don't have a kid. I just live nearby, so I come to the games. Hi, my name's Chris Henson. Why don't you take a seat? Like, that's what? And she's like, okay with it. She's like, that's so nice of you. The fuck? 2011?
My first 3 notes were the intro where they're crossing the border. I said I already forgot what I was watching with this intro.
I did too.
My next note is that kill was swift. And the next note after that is I don't have a kid. I live nearby. That's really nice.
Yeah,
Wait,
I forgot.
what?
I'm sorry. It's so much. Clee's so on point with the fucking intro because so much so that I don't have a note about it because he's right. I forgot that was a part of this movie.
Yeah.
It's about a Mexican mule bringing people over across the country illegally and then them getting picked up and one of them killing one and then getting in the police car with them and driving back off. And it's basically Russians.
I thought I was on an ad before the movie because I watched it on Tubi and I was like, what is this again? Patrol? I put the movie on and I'm like, what am I watching? Did I get the right thing?
But yeah, no, at one point Richard Gere's character in the beginning sits down at a little league game and is like, I live close by. so I just like to come to the games. And
Why?
that lady's response was, "That's nice."
We need to harp
Let
on
me
this a
call the
lot
cops.
longer than we should, but I don't care. Why would you even start a conversation knowing that you don't have a kid at this game? That also kind of foreshadowed
Yeah.
the drive behind what we eventually find out.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, oh, maybe he lost a kid, but like, just it only would have been better if she would have been like, which kid's yours? And he's like, oh, the second baseman. And she's like,
That's my kid.
My kid. Gotta go.
He's like, hey, which kid's yours? Oh, shortstop. Oh, he's doing really good. What kid's yours? Oh, shortstop. Huh?
Also, do you not maybe know the parents that are on your kid's team? Or like
Fair.
maybe claim the kid on the other team?
Oh, that would have been. There you go.
Not to give anybody ideas. I'm probably gonna cut all this out.
Jesus. Oh no, what have we done? Here's the thing, Cleve. If that is what, I don't think that's the tip that like tips the scale for them.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
that's a common sense situation. You know what I mean? Like that's not this is us mocking Richard Gere for not understanding how just common sense works, because you don't say, hey, which kid's yours? And they're like, oh, well, this one. And you're like, oh, that one over there is mine.
Even though you're the fucking most elusive man in the world. Anyway, so Richard Gere is Paul Shepherdson. Such a stupid last name. And he has been studying the Cassius Seven, which is an elite of 7 assassins, and
They're not very elite.
He's caught all of them except one, which is the leader. He thinks he's dead.
The leader has died or retired.
We have Topher Grace, who has studied not only Paul Shepherdson, but also has been studying Cassius as well. He wrote a paper on it. So
he wrote a whole thesis.
And that is Ben Greer. Greery? Doesn't matter. So
I was pretty confident they named him Greer as well, which was real close to Gere.
Gere.
So, like, did they work? Like, was Richard Gere in charge of this production? And he was just like, hey, you got my name now.
Maybe they came up with all that and they didn't know they were going to get Richard Gere. I was like, oh shit, we got Richard Gere. Like, wait a minute, the guy's name's Gere. Oh, I'm not changing it. So they're trying to find this assassin. Ben thinks he's alive. Paul thinks he's not. I'm going to refer to them as Pretty Woman and Spider-Man.
Yeah, nail it.
Spider-Man thinks he's alive. Pretty Woman doesn't.
Not to be confused with Tobey Maguire, guys. We mean the person that played Venom in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3.
What do I call him? Eric Foreman.
All right, there you go.
So Eric Foreman thinks that the bad guy's still alive, and Pretty Woman doesn't. So they're all investigating together, and you get the first feel of what could be a buddy cop moment, which is Eric Foreman's asking a bunch of questions, and Pretty Woman's like, just shut up, stop talking, ha ha, hee hee, jokes. It eventually leads to a scene where they go to a prison to talk to a guy, and it's about 25 minutes in, and Eric Foreman's real tough and is trying to get information with the radio, self-explanatory, and Pretty Woman is standing in the shadows.
He's offering it as an incentive, guys. He's trying to give him a radio incentive to be like, look, you haven't heard a single song in forever, and I know you like music. Here's a music box. Tell me information.
I feel like it's not really explained to us, but I get what you're saying. You definitely can deduce that. They definitely don't make that known like on their own. You definitely have to just intuitively know that that's what's happening, which I guess is good storytelling. I don't know. Anyway, so that is when I text Michael and go, is Pretty Woman the bad guy? Because he's purposely not showing his face to this one man who was trained by him.
I have a comment that said, I mean, did we not see this reveal coming? Is this not, were we not prepared for this?
Having said that, the movie does do what I can appreciate, which is
it did
acknowledge
a little bit. Yeah, it did.
It's like you get to see it. I mean, you get to see the side of the bad guy that you're chasing. You're chasing your own tail, which I was like, you know what? Good. I'm glad that I don't know off the bat, and I have to pretend like I'm watching this like I don't know. So that felt good.
I did put in here that we did, especially for our 2011 film, we had the technology by then. We did nothing, not a thing to de-age either of the people that they show in the flashback.
He had blacker hair.
Nothing. They did nothing.
His hair was gray instead of all white.
They all looked old as shit still, and because it was what Martin Sheen, right?
Yeah,
And Richard Gere, whatever, Pretty Woman. So because they did nothing to de-age them, they just show a picture of Reagan on the wall. Hey, that's the fucking 80s. I know it. I've been there.
What? This movie didn't seem like it had the budget for de-aging.
They had Topher Grace.
Oh, okay.
It's like a discount. Like you're saving money there. Nobody feels safe with Topher Grace.
Fair enough. I also like that this is still CIA and FBI. Ooh, like fucking firemen and firefighters.
I texted Cleve at one point. I'm like, in no world does seeing Topher Grace in a role of power and authority and law enforcement make me feel safe. He's a lollipop.
I also like when they first meet in the office when it's just the pissing contest and they're just Pretty Woman is just as disrespectful as can possibly be the entire time. He's like, kid, you don't know. You don't have it. You don't have it.
Where were you when the wall came down?
Yeah,
like got you good, fucker.
Who keeps crime cases? Like,
I like that Topher Grace's response was watching on TV like almost all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, eat it, old dick.
So you find out that Pretty Woman,
I could say that because his name's Richard,
is an evil assassin, and it takes another 45 minutes before
he's Cassius.
Eric Foreman does.
I didn't catch that on at all.
They didn't?
No.
He calls me at one point, but I get you.
Damn it.
He calls himself that at one point.
I did really enjoy he ran. He must have been guilty for something.
I wrote that down. I wrote in parentheses, it says he ran, figured he could be arrested for something. Yep. And then I put dash like you do for a quote and put every bad cop.
Yeah. Yeah, this goes in my column of why they get their badge taken away later. Also, the revelation scene when he's quote unquote proving the hypothesis is literally, and I mean this because I hate people that say the word literally, the stupidest fucking scene I've ever seen in a serious film in my life.
You mean his other best friend or his other friend when it becomes like a different buddy cop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they come together and he's like looking at all the photos and stuff. He's like, woo,
with his little magnifying glass, like looking at Sherlock Holmes. I tried to understand the way this guy was explaining it twice, and I was like, that's too much for this movie, and I stopped.
Stick to your lane. Okay, Double. Stick to your fucking lane.
I enjoy that it was a buddy cop movie between these two. Yeah, it was a buddy cop movie between these two, and then I was like, "Oh, it shifted to a buddy cop movie between his friend at the FBI and him." And I was like, "Oh, it switched back to a buddy cop movie again between those two."
What is happening?
I enjoyed that he goes off to his. That's when we first meet his partner, whose name he looked familiar, but I didn't. I don't know his name.
He did look super familiar. He's been in some kind of role, some supportive role. I'll look it up while you talk.
He did do a role where they're going back to his office and to the desk, and Topher sits. I'm sorry, Eric Foreman goes and sits at the desk, and there's just a dead body on the screen. And I'm like, dog, it seems like you're first coming in to the beginning of your day. Your computer's unlocked, and there's a dead body on the screen. Who's working security for this fucking FBI agency? Because this information's just out. No wonder you couldn't find out who the bad guy was. Also, when the man ordered the bad guy's drink, maybe we figure it out then.
Because nobody orders a fucking drink with an onion in it.
Fucking onion in it, unless you murder people.
It's only a Russian assassin. That's the only person that would ever do it.
If I ever owned a bar and somebody ordered that drink, I would know that person is probably a monster and needs to be arrested. And then when the cops came and say, "Why'd you shoot him?" I would say he ran, so he obviously did something wrong.
100%. Just to let you know, 2 years later, a movie came out called The Double as well. Wildly different movie. I know this kid from the show Weeds, but he was only in a couple episodes.
I like the moment that Eric Foreman figured out that maybe Pretty Woman's not all there, and it's when he held a prostitute down and put a gun in her fucking head. Was like, tell me what I want to know. I'll shoot you in the head and float you down the river.
Yeah, he
And
sure
then
did.
Eric Foreman was like, things are starting to add up a little bit for me. I'm gonna talk about this ending. Do you have anything before we talk about this ending?
Did anybody buy the fact that that was his sister?
No.
The guy comes up, he's like, yeah, he says he's his sister or his brother. I'm like, what the? No, he's a pimp. The things I have to say real quick,
please,
depending on how far you're getting into the ending, but okay, there's a flashback scene where Topher Grace is trying to understand Cassius now.
Eric Foreman,
yeah, Eric Foreman. And so then we see what happens to Cassius, right? So he finds that it's Pretty Woman. We find out that his wife and his son were killed in a hit job.
Just left in the backyard.
We're just left in the backyard. Okay, so here's my question. So this is so just the continuity breaks are just fucking infuriating. So they show a flashback to a crime scene where everybody's around them. And they're like, these people are dead. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they came from. And the guy then calls him on the payphone and says, we need to have a talk. You've broken the rules. You killed a woman and child. What did you do? He then goes to that house and sees them lying in the field. The crime scene investigators have already been there. The public has already seen it. There have already been people taking pictures and stuff. Why would the body still be in the field?
I don't want to touch him.
There's two possibilities here. Is he a time traveler and he somehow showed up to the house before it was a crime scene? And then I have questions of how the guy found out that he killed the two, and then all kinds of other. There's a lot that breaks down there.
How did this? Who first figured out that they were murdered besides the murderer?
Second possibility: the crime scene investigators like, I don't fucking deal with that today. It's a Friday. We'll deal with it next week.
Yeah, no, the Kearns will take it. It's fine.
It upset me so much. I rewatched it like 3 or 4 times and I'm like, this scene does not play out.
You know, flashbacks are tricky.
They're not. In addition, at one point in time, Topher Grace is now pursuing Pretty Woman. And I wrote, Topher Grace yelling at the Port Authority simply proves that he does not have the commanding authority that he needs to be anything special. Like, this is my point earlier. Topher Grace is not going to help.
Open the gates.
Open the gate. And I'm like, shut up, toddler.
So we get there and he confronts, Eric Foreman confronts Pretty Woman. Hey, I know you're Cassius. And Pretty Woman's like, well, you're Russian too. So, and I will admit, I don't think I saw that one.
I didn't see it coming. I said, oh, a twist I didn't see, I guess.
It really changes the title of the movie, The Double.
It does, doesn't it?
When you're living a double life, and another guy's living a double life, and then there's double of them doing that.
They called it the double?
Double squared. And
the quadro.
Like, we'll just frame this guy, it's fine. And so
they're like, you know what? I'm starting to see. Hey, you found me out. I'm starting to kind of see where you're coming from on this. That guy, he could die right now, and we're good. Like he did it.
Oh, Eric Foreman up to his old tricks.
Hey, yeah, Eric Foreman looks at him and goes, I mean, Cassius is getting away. Because he's like, you're a spy too. He's like, Cassius is getting away, and Richard Gere, like the gears are turning. You know, what I mean,
yeah.
And he goes, "You're right. He is getting away. Let's go catch him." And then slit his fucking throat with my watch string. I
was like, okay, which one of them's going to shoot the other one in the back? It's a better time, right? We can't trust these guys. Why are you friends? Why are you friends now? All trust is built on lies.
You know
There's
why?
Nothing substantial for either of you.
It's because Pretty Woman is just an older Eric Foreman, and Pretty Woman acknowledges that. He sees that because he says that he's like, "You have a fucking family. What are you doing?" And he realizes, oh, he has a family. He wants out. He doesn't want this.
Yeah, I think that not that he's a younger version of him, because Eric Foreman wasn't like a top tier assassin. Like could barely fight the guy at the end.
Barely.
So I think it was just like I used to have a family and I lost that and that sucked. So I don't want you to lose that also. He also was randomly like warning his wife several times. I'm like, man, if this wife would just like, hey, that's acting weird. Maybe we could get around to finding out who this was faster.
Real early on, yeah.
Um,
I did write. My last comment was, "Ooh, double meaning." Oh no, because at the very end, I was like, I thought it meant because of the double. It doesn't. At the very end, the CIA, because Eric Foreman works for the FBI and Pretty Woman works for the CIA. And the CIA guy, Martin Sheen, goes, "Hey, you ever thought about working for us?" It's kind of double meaning, Cleve, because Martin Sheen caught on. Martin Sheen understood. He knew some fishy shit went down because he was literally like,
he was looking at everything.
He's like, so he got shot, but he killed him with his own watch, and
Which
he
is-
did this.
Which that part happened. He did get shot before he killed him. But I mean, you had to take the watch off and put the watch on. I'm sure there's fingerprints on the watch.
Yeah. No, he was like, he definitely caught on. So he said, "You ever thought about working for us?" And I was like, it could either be us, or then I put or US, like the United States. I didn't put the stupid
or
sound on there.
She's a Russian. I've
It's
almost kind
also-
of been interested in this sleeper agent storyline. I will say,
Mhm.
I always think it's like a very easily told, terrifying thing that could exist. Right?
Yeah.
It could be your neighbor. You'd never know. I
Big
doubt
thing
it
during the Red
because
Scare.
I live in like the suburb of DFW. But any other ways, maybe, maybe
Yeah.
they're out there. They probably aren't working at the corner store, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
What would be your code word? What
it could be me. I'm not white, but other people, it could be.
that would make you the perfect one.
That's fair. Or they would hate me.
No, they're Russian. They're not Nazis. They're not German.
Have you ever seen and all the stories of all the different types of sleeper agents? Have you ever seen a black
Oh, but now we need to write one.
one?
Black Knight.
Oh, interesting. The war just got a little bit cooler.
Cool side of the pillow.
Get it, Cold War? Yeah, anyway.
Oh, God.
So
I hate everything I said. I'm sorry.
yeah, so Pretty Woman gets shot, but chokes out new fake Cassius because Cassius murdered his family. I don't know how we figured that out, but cool. So
Because he admitted at one point when they went into his office, he admitted to pretending to, because they came in and like, "We know you're Cassius." He goes, "I've been accused of that before. I've had to play it before."
gotcha.
And then he talked about how he was sloppier about his work.
But then you weren't even like, I don't know. I feel this is like it's not enough to go off of. But he did look up like, where were you on this date? And he was like, I was flying in this town, so don't worry about it. So
It was the
he
same
gets
town
his
wife
he
died.
gets his revenge, and he's like, go home. And then the sleeper agent gets to just have this happy ending with his family, and I'm like, I don't feel good about this.
Well,
This
I mean,
man's
at least hopefully when he goes to a fucking baseball game, he gets to be like, "That's my kid."
That's fair. I just assumed that some
Pretty
Russian
Woman was not
assassin
living a
would-
life.
I just imagine some Russian assassin's going to come kill Eric Foreman and his family now because
Well, that's
he didn't
awesome.
report back.
But he did his job. Maybe he will report back because all his job was to put Cassius down.
Well, he said,
And Cassius is
I
dead.
put Cassius down and I go home. My flight's tonight. So he's supposed to wrap that up in like 12 hours.
He's supposed to go back.
I don't know.
Forgive me for not listening to some of the dialogue.
But, just, I mean, arguably the worst cops we've had. Because
they're both yeah, no, they lost their badge
Just-
easily. Even
I mean,
let's
were they
take
even- did they-
away the fact that Topher Grace is a double agent.
Okay, not including that.
Still a shitty cop.
Very fair. I mean-
Everything that existed was screaming, "That man's trying to murder you or your family. Get out."
However, like nobody else put it together. This guy was, and for this guy to just show up on your doorstep and go, "I can capture all these men for you." I'm already Martin Sheen's a real jackass. That's just like your best friend. You think maybe he knew?
Yeah, dude. He's also a double agent now. Everybody, the whole entire guys, the CIA is just compromised.
I don't trust any of them.
I don't trust a
They're probably
single one of
listening
them.
right now.
Yeah, no, we take their badges away. I mean, if I could, I'd fucking piano string the other one too.
I was wondering at first when he was like, I guess I'm coming out of retirement. He went and grabbed the watch. I was like, all right, I guess it's a fucking, is it bulletproof or why do you think this watch? What's so special about this watch? You fucking Wonder Woman out there deflecting bullets with your watch?
Oh, it'd be
Nope, I'm just
amazing.
strangling people with it swiftly.
The swiftness in which he did it.
When he tripped the guy into the fucking street of New York, I was like,
it was impressive.
It was impressive.
This is,
I mean,
work to be admired for sure.
Decent movie, not great movie, not good.
Yeah, the guy at
Decent
Movie Train
movie.
Company told Cleve it was a banger.
He said it was underrated, and I guess that's fair because I would have never watched this otherwise.
No, I didn't even know it existed. The other one is Jesse Eisenberg. Is it Jesse Eisenberg? The guy that plays Lex Luthor in the newer Superman?
Okay.
That's the other double. And he finds out that he has a twin that exists that then ruins his life.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Are they buddy cops?
No. Damn. Nothing to do with being buddies or cops.
Should we just review that movie for Friendship Supreme and then just have 2 episodes back to back about the double? That would be funny to me. I will
give so much money to you to not make me watch that movie.
Oh,
I just can't express to you enough how much it doesn't look good.
I wouldn't say it's a bad movie.
This one, now, if you like spy movies and stuff, unfortunately we've ruined all those twists for you, but I'm gonna tell you now they're pretty obvious. The Topher Grace one not as much, but the
because it was such a throwaway moment. Like, I thought it was weird when he like took the little sign off the trash can and put it in the trash, but they let us look at the newspaper for 10 seconds and they took it away. And all it said was, the only word I caught was liaison. I was like, I mean, that could be fucking anything. You could just be really bad at crossword puzzles. I don't know.
Well, and then he was like, here's Russian words, and I can't read Russian, so.
Yep, that's also fair. People's handwriting are bad. There's a bunch of reasons why my brain just went, don't worry about it.
As far as I'm concerned, they have to turn in their badges.
Oh.
Possibly their American citizenship.
I need badges, watches.
Gotta take the watch away.
And now I'm gonna try to fucking twist everybody's watch knob. Every time I see somebody with a watch, I'm gonna pull it and go, all right, you come in.
Such an odd,
Also, there's no ballistics. Like, if they were like, if it was a knife, it's usually ear to ear, but this one starts in the middle and goes out. Like, nobody figured out it was a fucking little fish wire. Like, nobody.
Oh man,
we had 2 of the government's biggest organizations on this.
Trying to find this, and they couldn't. Yeah.
And the man worked for one of them.
You know what? Why don't we take the badge away from both the agencies too?
Oh, I mean, I don't know
Martin
if anybody's keeping their job after this.
Badge.
The only person I think that'll keep their job is the guy behind the chair. Or maybe. I think he just wanted to help. He just wanted to be part of the team.
I didn't like any of it.
It's understandable. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Double cops, double undercover, double shot after this movie. This pretty woman had no venom. The only double here, double the badge and guns taken. Case closed.